Hello, today we are going to have so much fun. I did a mood check. I'm kind of all over the place, but that's okay. Most of the time, I am all over the place. So what I want to do today, though, is I kind of want to use something that one is new to me, which is this Pink Fresh Studio Poinsettia frame. And I have the complete bundle, which is absolutely beautiful. So it comes with options you can buy together or separately. But one is the red rubber cling stamp. It also has the sentiment, and this is going to give you a really nice crisp impression. Wonderful. The press plate of the same, so it matches. And this is what I actually use to create the foiling on this, as you can see in front of you. But press plates, not just for use in your butter press, also can be used with your foiling machine. I have a Glimmer hot foil, and so that's what I used. And then I have the coordinating die that will cut out my frame. Then all of the layering stencils. So I clearly already have my foiled frame here, and that is what I'm going to be working on to create a card. I decided that I wanted to be, I don't know, in a purple mood for whatever reason, but purple and grays were kind of hitting me, and I thought that's going to make a really beautiful card, even with having this gold. Maybe you might think more silver or black outline or something like that, but I really liked the gold, the way that this turned out. And so I really wanted to use this and make this into a card, but feeling a little off. So I'm trying to brighten, but also channel my kind of grayish mood maybe. And so I'm going to start off, may not finish and complete with this, but I'm going to start off with using the grays for my leaves, and I'm going to use the Lost Shadow Distress Oxide and couple that with the Lisa Horton Interference ink in Regal Gray, which shimmers to a purple. I do swatches, so I don't know if you're able to kind of see this or not, but it does a nice color shift. Then for my actual poinsettia flowers, I am going to go ahead and use Wilted Violet in the Distress Oxide. I really like the way the oxides blend out pretty smooth. And then I'm going to couple that with the Interference Cloud 9 in the Crushed Velvet, which shimmers to like a gold, which again would play off really nice from my foiling here. So those are the colors that I am going to use. I've got some blending brushes here, using my all over Pink Fresh soft blending brush. And then I have some waffle flower brushes here, and who knows what other colors we may pick and pull. And that may require me to pull some from my stash. And we are gonna go ahead and get started with stencil number 1. Now it's hard to see, but in the corner here, you can see where it says stencil 1. I really should do the Jennifer McGuire trick and write on it and put a piece of tape, maybe on the front, on the back. Well, it doesn't matter because you can always reverse it if you need to, but if you were just going to do stenciling. But anyway, I think maybe that's something I need to do. It'd help me see them. So let me just align this. And yes, I cut my background a little wonky with how I guess the press plate works for foiling. I always find it hard to keep things extremely lined up, so I had to kind of shift how I cut it. It'll work beautifully. I'll just end up having a little bit of a smaller width of a card. It'll be fine. And I decided to pull out my sticky mat to really help keep my cardstock and stencil in place. So now that I have my stencil and my whatnot all lined out, we're going to take a look and see how this is actually playing out. So we have some leaves. This is my first time using this, by the way. So we have some leaves that we can see, but then we also have what looks to be kind of some base layers of the poinsettia. Or are those just leaves? Okay, those are just leaves. All right, just want to make sure. The petal shapes are very similar to the others, aren't they? Hey, you know, even if it wasn't, we're all good. We do what we want to do. So I'm gonna go in here. And I just want to do a nice all over real light blend. I don't know if you've used the ink here before, but it is absolutely a wonderful gray. This is the perfect like light. And if you need just more, just build up your, of course, your layering of your ink. I also tap off into my what am I thinking of? My lid. You know, my brain doesn't work. I don't know if anybody else has that issue, but my brain just doesn't work a lot of times. So you can tap off into your lid, and then of course you can pull from what you've tapped off into your lid if you were needing any more color there. All right, I think that's probably going to be good for that. Such a nice light gray. And as you can see, it is just such a beautiful gray right there. Okay, so let us get out stencil 2. Okay, so now I have my second stencil on here to do some additional whatnot. And I think I actually may want to pull out, yeah, no. I'm trying to think. Okay. No, we're going to stick with our plan. Don't get distracted. No need for distractions. And that looks a bit purple, but really it's gray. And I think I want to just come in here. And we're going to test this out and just kind of, I'm not even going to do like a real intense, like paying high attention to the inking. However it lays, it will lay all down. Yes, you can come in here. You're going to be able to do some additional highlights, darken areas. I personally, I like to, the first time I'm using a kind of a new stencil like this, I personally like to kind of come in and just lay down the ink and see where it really highlights and what it's going to look like. I know that there are some people that when they're doing their videos, and I'm just going to preface mine with saying, I don't want my channel or want my videos to be too planned. I mean, I know what I'm going to do, but at the same time, I really want this to be free thinking. It helps me with my mental health. It helps me remember that this is supposed to be fun and not to overthink and not to worry and not to get myself into a state of anxiety or perfection. We do that, I think, a lot to ourselves where we say, oh, but it's not perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. One, I do card making, art journaling, and all of this for myself. I hope it brings joy. I hope it reminds people and others of what they can do, ideas. Maybe there's something that they're like, oh yes, I can have a lot of fun playing with different colors. They don't have to be traditional. I can get outside of the box because that's what we're all about here. And I don't need approval from anybody else. Do I hope people like my stuff? Of course I do. We are humans. But am I going to rest on if somebody likes this, doesn't like this? Okay, we all have different tastes. So I just want to come in here and play. So I really don't want to overthink this too much. And I can always relayer the stencils and go back and add or remove and do whatever else that I want to do. So with that, let's move on and see what stencil 3 holds. Oh, but see, look at that right there. That still looks so nice. Yeah, I really need to be able to see what these are. I need to do my Jennifer McGuire trick. I'm gonna hold off on the berries, I think. I wanna see more on what that, what I wanna do with that. I may come in with a red because that would be really kind of cool to have this gray with the purple and then this pop of kind of red there. But I kind of want to hold off a minute and see. So I'm going to give it some thought while we're putting down our first color of ink. I grab this brush. I do know that with my other brush, this brush, I put it aside because I did use it on oxide. Now, I don't have separate, like all over background type blending brushes for my oxide versus my like dye inks. So I will wash that and kind of just the very tips of the bristles, really, because I didn't really pounce a lot. So it's really a light color, but I don't want to contaminate anything else that I put in it. So I will wash that brush, but for this one, I'm going to use my designated oxide for purples. And just going to do a nice kind of quick blend. Okay, I also do think I'm gonna pop some color in there. Okay, I think I'm gonna do some lumberjack plaid and the cranberry fizz. So this is lumberjack plaid and cranberry fizz. So let's play with that, with those. I love this cranberry fizz color. It's by Catherine Pooler. Not quite sure if you've ever used it before, but it's a yummy, yummy color. I think my mom is the one that actually had it first, and I saw her do something with it and was just like, oh yes, that's a beauty. I just need that in my life. And so I absolutely got it. And who knows what else I'll do. I mean, there's so many things you could do with these. I sometimes will come in here and blend and take all this time to blend and then decide, nope, I want to bling up the the centers or the berries or do whatever. And so it's like I did blending for nothing. But sometimes I just like to let my creativity go where it wants to go. And if I decide at the last minute to change up something, well, that's my prerogative. And I can absolutely do that. And I find that to be fun. It makes my brain happy. So, I'm gonna put that aside, and that makes us done with this one. I think there's a layering stencil for the rest of the berries. This is Seedless Preserves of this Distress ink, not oxide. I think these layering stencils have a bit more detail that's going to clearly come through, so I think I may need to layer up more colors. And I'll repeat if I need to, because, you know, we can just build and build. to add the additional color. There are a lot of layering stencils, but oh my gosh, look at this already. Look at how beautiful the gray with the purple and that pop of red is. Oh, yes, that makes me happy. If it makes you happy. I'm going to add a touch of warm chestnut to this. I know it's darkening some of that up, but that's okay. Again, play, 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 play. Ooh, yes, 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 my queen friends out there. I love you. I see you. Absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Okay, now this is where we're going to come in and let this give it some buttes, some beautiful shimmer. These Lisa Horton inks are just, oh, can't get enough of them. I absolutely love color shifts. Any kind of sparkly, shiny, color shifty goodness, I am all about. It makes me hungry for just color, color, color. So let's see what this looks like and if I feel like I need to add anything. Oh my gosh. So here is our beautiful background. I love the gold foil. Oh, with the purples. I'm glad I added that seedless preserves. I hope you can see the color shift, because it's absolutely beautiful. I hope a close-up will get it. I don't know. Anyway, but with the berries and the gray. So now we do have another final like stencil. And this one, you can see like when you put it down that it's going to, if I had not die cut this out, it would do all of this space. However, if you look additionally close, like get real up on it, then you're going to see that there's some kind of like outline, the parts of the border. There's some spaces here that we can still go ahead and color in. And I'm actually going to go ahead and do that. I think I'm going to do it in that light gray just so it kind of has that nice same wash all over it. If I can get this lined up. I'm trying to line up on the berries. Okay, good enough. So I don't want it to take away from anything I've already done, which is why I still want to use the same Lost Shadow. but I'm just really just wanting to come in here and lay down some ink. I may go slightly heavy just because I want it to be a little bit of a contrast from those initial leaves. So I'll probably build it up a bit. What do we think? Do we think we got enough there? And I hope this reminds you that you can do whatever you want. Who cares? It's your fun time. And I really hope that it reminds you to just pick colors. See how they go together. Even if they're not simpatico on the color wheel, who cares? Do what you want. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and clean this up, and we are then gonna be right back. But beautiful, beautiful. I do like having that touch of that gray. It really kind of almost makes the leaves blend in more, as if it was one complete space without there being, you know, any white in between it, as if it is a leaf. So I like that. And I like that I went a little bit darker so you could see in those areas, it is a little bit of a contrast from this nice light space that we did. But let's clean this up. All right, so for this brush that I used the oxide on, that was the Lost Shadow oxide, I'm gonna clean it by just doing a spray. So I'm just taking my water and I'm kind of spraying it. And then I'm just kind of blending, as if I'm blending on paper. I'm gonna blend away the oxide that is on there. So I kind of hold my bristles just because I don't want them to spread out. And then I just do that. That way I've gotten off a lot of that, you know, kind of the white pigmenty or whatever it is that goes into making the oxide. I'm no chemist, ask Tim Holtz. And there we have it. That way it's gonna dry. I'm just gonna put it back in my holder and it will dry nice and perfect. And I use a microfiber cloth with alcohol to clean my stencils. And here I've taken out my die cutting machine. I use the Platinum 6 by Spellbinders. I have had this for many years and it really is a great machine that works well. I do have some very heavy cardstock here. So I have a bunch of already made bases in a variety of colors, and I pulled out one of my heavy cardstock bases in black. I really think that this black cardstock is going to make all of the ink blending that we did really pop. And instead of having a black background that I could have put this on, I wanted to make it a window. I really wanted the front to kind of show through directly to the back. So that's what I'm doing. I die cut out using that poinsettia frame die onto the front of my card base. I had a bit of a problem though, as you can see here, with my actual cardstock cutting, because it is pretty heavy cardstock, and it just wasn't working well for me. So I had to take my X-Acto knife tool, which honestly, I don't know if it's an X-Acto knife, but my precision cutting tool, I guess you could say. And I decided to make some precision cuts to get it all cut out instead of just running it through. And here I'm trimming up a couple of the additional pieces, because remember, my frame is a little wonky. It's not quite the right size. So I've really had to do some work to get everything to align and fit properly. After some additional little cutting work
here. As you can see, things just were needing to line up. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take my card front and I'm gonna align that on the front just to kind of give it a glance, make sure that everything is for the most part lining up the way that I want it to, and it does. So I'm done with some additional little cutting work there. I'm gonna move everything out of the way, make sure that I have space for the next piece of my card, which is to cut some additional layers of my poinsettia frame that I'm putting onto my card base. So you probably noticed in the very beginning that the frame itself, the poinsettia frame, seemed a little bit flimsy, and I really needed some kind of additional substance there. I have a heavy card base, yes, but I wanted there to be a bit more sturdiness to this frame itself. So I cut up additional layers of that poinsettia frame to go ahead and layer into my card front. After cutting out two additional of the poinsettia frames, I am going to layer them and make that card front more sturdy. It just didn't hit my liking. So, I could have used a heavier cardstock, I guess, in making, initially this, but I didn't. So I went ahead and decided I just needed to layer it up. So, sometimes in crafting, I feel like we go backwards, right? Like we're like, oh, this is the direction, this is the path I'm going to go. And then we have to adjust. We have to shift and say, this is not working well for me, or I want something different. And I do this all the time. Do y'all do this? I do this all the time. So I'm gluing together these additional pieces, making that frame just a bit more sturdy so we can then kind of adjust, see how it's going to fit on our card, and we can then go ahead and build up that base of our actual card and get to finishing this up. This to me was actually the longest period of doing the card, was this additional work right here. I just don't know why. I think probably because, again, I started with a little bit of a wonky front that I was doing because I wanted to foil that frame. And I wanted to use that press plate to foil instead of pressing it in. And so I think that really kind of made things a little bit askew. Things had to just be a little tweaked here and there in order to line them up. So as you can see here, it's not lined up really great, and I needed the front window to be lined up with the front window on my base. So I made a little mark, just a little tick there, and I'm cutting that piece off of my card front because I needed to. I needed to trim it. I can't have that little bit stuck there. And what I was afraid of was if I put it on my card first, that I would then have an issue if I needed to cut it off and me accidentally cutting the crease of my card. And then I would be like, oh my gosh, now I have to kind of start this base all over. So here I am. I'm adhering it, trying to see, is it lining up right? I'm not so worried about the white. Most of the white from the inside is honestly just the layers, and that doesn't bother me. If that bothers you, you can take a black marker, go around your edges, however you want to do that. That kind of stuff doesn't bother me. So I've got my card. My front is onto my base, and yes, there is still some additional work and trimming to do. Now, I probably could have cut all of this piece out and not shown you, but I wanted to keep it in because, we're about authenticity here, and I wanted to show all of the things that happen to all of us, not just, our most watched and quote unquote famous, crafters and card makers out there that we all dearly love. I love them too. And I know why they cut it out, because it does make the videos a lot longer. And sometimes they'll show some bloopers and this, that, and the other, but I really wanted to show how this card, while beautiful, it was a lot of work. It was a lot of additional work. And there probably are things that I could have done differently because I'm not perfect. None of us are perfect. And we all learn and we grow and we figure out things. In the way my brain works, is it kind of comes after the fact, unfortunately. So while I'm in the moment, The way I was doing this just made sense, but there are probably some things I could have changed. It doesn't matter though. The end result is still beautiful, and I had a lot of fun making this card. And you can see what I said earlier, where the black just really makes all of this pop. So I'm trimming off the edges, the pieces that, as I said in the beginning, my card frame, my frame, I should say, my poinsettia frame, was a bit wonky and smaller than what an A2 size standardly would be. So I have my A2 base, but I needed to cut off those additional bits. And so that's what I'm doing. After cutting the sides additionally, the bottom additionally, because I want to make sure, this is as clean and nice as possible. Of course, we don't want anything wonky sticking out. I'm going to take a nice look at it, look at the front, look at the sides, look at the back, snip off anything additional, and then we're going to go ahead, and once I like the way that it is, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next part, which is going to be the sentiment. So I pulled out my MISTI, my stamp. I'm determining the positioning. I have my card base and with the frame in there, all nice and secure and taped with some mint tape and my magnet into my MISTI. And so I'm positioning that sentiment where I want it. And when I like where it's at, I'm going to open it up and I'm going to use my Versamark. Well, gotta tape that down first, don't we? Oh, and I need to powder. Don't forget, how many of us forget to use our anti-static powder tool before we end up working on some embossing? Me, all the time. So funny story, it says do not use with inks. My mom had to replace mine because I don't know about y'all, but if, sometimes there's some residual inks, and if you get your Versamark in there, but you want to do something clear, then we've got an issue, and it's going to make things a little messy. So I have a dedicated one that I don't mind using with, inks, and I know that the embossing powder that I have is going to be pretty opaque. That could be done in this case, but that's not what I pulled out. But that's just a long explanation of why I keep things separate. So I'm going to go ahead and finish my embossing. Got a piece of paper out. I've taken a look. It looks like I'm embossing quite well. Sometimes it's hard to see that Versamark ink. So who knows, right? But anyway, did a little dance, flicky flick flick here with my embossing powder. It looks to be good from what I can see. So I'm going to put my powder, which is a gold embossing powder, back into the case because, waste not. In the crafty world, we waste not. And then I am taking my embossing tool, heat tool, and I'm going, which I think is WOW. It is a WOW embossing tool, and it's fairly new to me. I used to have a Wegner's and it died. And then anyway, let's not get into a long story and get distracted again by things that you don't need to know. And anyway, I ended up with the WOW. It works just fine. I've enjoyed it. It has 2 speeds. It's great. So I'm embossing. It all looks good, and I'm going to turn that off, making sure I'm not going to burn myself either, because how many times have we done that? I have. So I'm taking a look at it, and I noticed it didn't actually emboss and stamp well. That's okay. We are going to have this fixed. Going to make a fix, but it did position well. Like the positioning, just need to go ahead and fix. I pull out some markers to determine how do I want to fix this. I don't like it. Mikey no likey. So I did some little swatching with my pens to determine what color would actually work best for this. And I didn't like any of them. It just wasn't hitting me right. So I then decided we are going to make a pivot, and we are going to go ahead and emboss some more. And so I've got another piece of black cardstock. It's actually bigger than the base that I have. So just keep that in mind as we're going through this. I've got my Versamark ink back out, and I'm going to go ahead and do some additional embossing of the same sentiment. So keep that in mind. Same sentiment. I like the sentiment. I like the placement. I like everything about it. It just had that goober, and I didn't like the goober. So getting rid of the goober. So here we are making some nice good Versamark inking impressions. I'm double and triple checking this. As you can see, I kind of tilting up my Misty after I inked to check all around in all of the spots really, really well, since I clearly didn't do that in the beginning. So that way I can make sure that it is truly inked the way that it, look at that. It looks like it caught that edge, so I'm happy with it. Here we are, happy, happy, happy. So I'm going to move my Misty out of the way, and I'm going to do my embossing powder. This is the same gold embossing powder. And by the way, the anti-static powder that I use is Pink and Main. It's a Pink and Main embossing powder tool. I like that it's all in one. Makes it simple, in my opinion. And then here I'm double checking again about the dang Versamark and the embossing powder. Did I miss that? Did I not? Putting it back, the rest back in the jar. Of course, waste not, waste not, waste not. After pulling back out my heat tool to emboss this, I want to check the alignment. So here I'm kind of putting it in. As you can see, I still had that larger cardstock that I did the additional embossing on just to be safe. And so I like the placement. I like that I can line it up. It's gonna fit well. So I'm taking my Barely Arts glue and adding it after a good shake, 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 because my glue is towards the end. I love this glue. But it is towards the end, so I need to give it a good shake and squeeze. And then I'm putting it right at the crease at the top, and then kind of moving it to where I want it before I let it drop down, and make sure that it's really nice and straight against that top edge, and then adhered well. I am going to take some of my, here, my microfiber cloth, whatever it is, and I'm going to go ahead and wipe some of that additional powder off. So now back to the trimmer. Oh my gosh, did we think the trimmer was gone? We did, but we were wrong, right? So I pulled back out the trimmer because now I have some additional pieces that I needed to cut off. And as you can see, I did that. So cut off that little extra that was around the bottom and the sides, and look at this beautiful card. I think it turned out so gorgeous, stands up nicely, and look at that embossing, beautiful. What a beautiful Christmas card, and that black cardstock really does make this pop. This is our completed card. I absolutely love it. I hope this inspired you to pull out some colors, just play, have fun, and just find the joy in your crafting.
Thank you for supporting me by subscribing, liking, commenting, and sharing this video.